sport. She didn't want to lose. And I just happened to play with this beautiful woman and her husband. They would play, and they were models in New York City. And this girl, Jenny, she's a big-time athlete, and she used to always want to be on my team. And her husband was great too. But I used to pass Jenny the ball. But a lot of other guys wouldn't. So I'd make sure we'd be up. I was still in pretty good shape back then. I used to pass her the ball. She could make some shots, and get to be good friends with Jenny and her husband, Arlen. And all of a sudden one day, Jenny comes up to me and says, "Hey, Andy, I know you're a coach. I'm trying to go to the NCAA tournament game in Boston." There was an NCAA first-round game in Boston. We were in New York City. "My friend has tickets. Are you going to go? Maybe we could meet up with you in Boston." I said, "Yeah, I'm going. In fact, I'm planning on driving up in 2 days." I said, "How are you getting here?" She said, "Well, we're going to fly." I said, "Don't fly. I'm happy to drive you and save you $1,000 in tickets and drop you off wherever you want to go in Boston." So she said, "Oh, that'd be great. Let me check with my friend, make sure it's okay." And she came back the next day and said, "Sure, just pick us up. We'd love for you to take us." So the next day, I get to go to Boston. I'm ready to go. I get my car. I drive up to the Starbucks in Manhattan. And out of the Starbucks, watch Jenny and her friend, Amanda. They got my car. And I said, "Oh, this is going to be a great trip." Thank you, Lord. This is going to be a great trip. Well, it was a great trip. And then as we were going up to Boston, Amanda's from Oklahoma City, a small town outside Oklahoma City. She's a huge Oklahoma State fan. Her father had season tickets, football and basketball. She likes college football and basketball more than I do. So we had a lot in common that weekend. Our first date was back in New York a week later. I didn't take her to some high-end restaurant in Manhattan. I took her to Taco Bell at St. John's Arena at the Student Center because we were going to an NIT basketball game at St. John's. I sat right behind the bench, and I'll never forget the comment that she made. Literally, we were 2 feet behind the bench. The huddle of the team was around us in the timeouts. I'll never forget this. After the second media timeout, the sweat was flying off the players. A few drops landed on her, and she looked at me and said, "Do these guys always smell like this?" Well, I said, "Hey, you're in the game. You can be a coach right. You're in the huddle, so just enjoy it." Well, we had a lot of fun. Our first few days all revolved around college basketball. Amanda would go to a sports bar in Manhattan by herself, and when you're a female going into a sports bar in Manhattan, you're one of very few females in the bar. She'd sit by herself and tell the bartender to put on a Oklahoma State football game on the one satellite. Of course, they couldn't play it over. It'd be a riot if you put OSU on the whole screen. But she would sit by herself and watch OSU football by herself. And I said, "Man, that's the type of woman I want to be married to." Whenever you have that passion for sports well, we moved on from that. We were married, and she was a successful model in New York. She left home at age 18 with no money, didn't know anyone, lived in an apartment with 4 or 5 other aspiring models, and she made it in New York. And I realized that her background was much like mine. It doesn't matter what people think, what they say. If it's in here, and you have a dream, you can do it. And I give her all the credit in the world because she had to leave with failure and come back. A few months later, after she worked in a grocery store and got enough courage to try it again, and she became an extremely successful model and flew all over the world. And when I met her, she was still in the prime of her career. Well, then, I wanted to get into college coaching. I had a great opportunity at Florida State University. And this woman over here gave up her career in her prime to be a coach's wife and start a family. And we moved to Tallahassee, Florida, which is a great place, but it's not Manhattan. It's not Los Angeles, or Milan, or Paris, or London, wherever she's been. We have 3 beautiful young children. We had a great time at Florida State. It's a football school like this. Helped Leonard Hamilton, my boss there, build the program up. Went to 3 or 4 straight NCAA tournaments. I went to 3 at a Sweet 16 appearance. Won the ACC last year in my first year as a head coach. Those guys, and we we helped build the program with, and I give Leonard amazing credit because he's a master at building basketball programs. I learned a lot from that. He was at Oklahoma State, at Miami, and then Florida State, and he learned how to build programs. And so when I was prepared to take the head coaching job at Florida Gulf Coast University, I had to build a program. I know most of you didn't before 2 weeks ago, had never heard of FGCU. Certainly didn't know where it was, what the letter stood for, what the mascot was. But I'm sure most of you that have watched TV the last 2 weeks now know. Well, I took what I learned from Leonard and tried to instill that with building a program at Florida Gulf Coast University. I had a great AD there, Ken Cavanaugh, who was a basketball guy, and he understood the importance of sports on campus and what it took. But when I walked in there, I lost our leading scorer, leading rebounder, who was the same guy, and our leading assist man. They left the program because they didn't want to go to class, did some things off the court, and we were trying to build a culture of winning with positive attitudes and build something special. It took us about 1.5 years before I said, wow, we're a really good basketball team, but more importantly, we have a chemistry among our players and our program that I've never seen before. And if we can keep this up, we are going to do something special this year. And we went into the second half of the season, we kept getting better and better. We beat Miami early in the year by 12 to win the ACC, and we were pumped up and had some ups and downs, but we just kept getting better. And our players developed. We have a very specific player development program that I've done in the NBA, I did at Florida State, did at FGCU, and we're going to do here. And our players became better shooters, passers, ball handlers, could finish with both hands in the lane. They could have post moves, they could defend, they could push the ball down the court, make decisions, go full speed. And by the end of the season, we won 7 in a row, then we lost a couple on the road, and we won seven more, and beat Mercer, who was in our league, for the championship on their home court. They were 15-0 at home, and they beat Tennessee, Alabama, and Florida State this year. They're a great team. I said, wow, we're in the NCAA tournament. I had Georgetown, the Big East co-champ, in the first round. I said, you know what? Our players are talented enough because we've done that development, and they have that team chemistry like I've never seen. We're going to go win some games. And our players believe. And we walked into the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia and beat the best team in the Big East. And if you watch the game, we didn't squeak by. We scored more points, 78, than any team all year on them because we play an up-tempo, very controlled style. We try to score in the first 7 seconds of the shot clock. We push the ball. We defend. We're top 20 in the nation in steals. My shooting guard was 3rd in the nation. Bernard Thompson, 3rd in the nation in steals. And we ran, and we threw alley-oops, we kicked out, we hit threes, and we defended. It was something we had worked for the last 2 years. It was unbelievable to see how good our players were at that time. Then we went into the second round against San Diego State, who had such a tremendous year. What a great coach they had. And we scored 81 points in that game with the same style and the same flair. And now we're in the Sweet 16 at Florida Gulf Coast University. And that was something that I say, well, how did you get there? Well, that was 20 years maybe 30 years of me sitting on the couch with my father watching ACC basketball growing up. And going out in the backyard and dreaming about having my own program and learning from Mike Dunleavy, who I coached in Milwaukee, Rick Pitino in Boston, Leonard Hamilton at Florida State. Learning from all the great coaches I've watched and coached with and against. And implementing a style of basketball and a culture of winning to be successful. And that's what we did. And I'm so proud of those players. And it was a most heartbreaking few minutes of my life when I told them I was coming to USC. But at the same time, this is still a dream. This is where I want to be. And I know they say, well, you're an East Coast guy. Well, if you're a basketball coach, you coach anywhere. If you can recruit anywhere. And if you have a winning culture or program, you can win big anywhere. And I often dreamed about having a place like this that has the tradition, the resources, the support of the fans, the community, the administration, the student body. The Galen Center, one of the nicest places to play in the country. A Los Angeles recruiting market where I can get in my car and drive and see numerous great players within the same day or 2 days instead of getting on a flight and having to fly all over the place. To have a national brand where players from all over the country and international will come and want to go to school here because it's a top 25 or 30 academic school in the country. Some of the programs are ranked even higher. To have great graduate programs. And to have the tradition and the excitement of what USC can bring. So this is a dream for me. And my family looks forward to becoming part of the Trojan family. I know it's going to take a while before we can all sit down and talk, but I look forward to that. So I want to thank you for believing in me, Pat, and the rest of the administration. And one thing I can say, I'm going to show up every day in this office with my coaching staff and make this a better place than it was the day before, and I look forward to it. Thank you.